Hello students, welcome to Eduxcite classes. Today we will solve MYP 2022 e-assessment MYP 5 physics. So you can see in front of your screen, these are the instructions on screen examination. So just go through this whole instructions. You will be having 5 minutes to get familiar with the whole overall structure and the software that you will be going through for your e-assessment. The paper will be of 2 hours to complete all the questions, and there are 9 questions in this MYP 2022. Each question may have subparts. Answer all the questions. There is no choices as such. The maximum mark for the whole examination is 100 marks. More or less it is equally distributed for all the 4 criterias. So when the 2 hours will end, you will no longer be able to answer any questions, right? So without wasting time, let us start. Okay, so you can see on the top, okay, this is the highlighter. This is your calculator that you can use for your numericals. These are the most important one, and many students have confusion what formulas are given in the exams. So you can see in front of your screen right now, density, force, all the formulas related to the motion, momentum, pressure, work, kinetic energy, gravitational field strength, gravitational potential energy, efficiency, power, current, voltage, transformer equation, wave speed and time period are given. Okay. So, and the next one is your multipliers. You should know the abbreviations for tera, giga, mega and so on. So you can use this as well in case you have confusion. This is the periodic table. If you click on any of the element like chromium, so atomic number is given to you and the mass number is also given to you. So you can refer this also anytime. You can just click over it. This is not for yours. This is just to quit. And these are the instructions that I have, and here you will get a time, how much time is remaining. As of now I have supported the examiner software, so there is no time limit as such. So there are 9 questions, you can go through it. Let us start with the very first question. Okay, so let us start with the very first question. Okay, so the Shinkansen, commonly known as a bullet train, is a network of high-speed magnetic levitation trains in Japan. The video below explores how the train were redesigned to minimize the loud booms produced when the train enters the tunnel. Okay, so let me just play a video for you. Also, you can go through the script, which you can see whatever the audio speaks up in the video. You can go through the script in this. Okay, so for you I am playing the video, just go through it once.
Japanese bullet trains were first designed in 1964. These trains use magnetic levitation. The repelling force between magnets is used to raise the train above the tracks. This reduces friction and allows the train to travel at very high speeds. When in a tunnel, the fast speed and the bullet shape caused a layer of air to build up in front of the train. This caused a loud booming sound when the train exited the tunnel. Scientists noticed that kingfisher birds did not disturb water when they dived into it due to the shape of their beaks. They redesigned the nose of the train by modeling it on a kingfisher's beak. The redesigned train cut through the air and reduced the buildup of layers of air in tunnels. This reduced the loud booming sound and increased the train's efficiency.
Okay, I hope you have gone through the video. Now let us get to the first question. Select the unit for measuring force. So we know that what is the SI unit. You can see in the options joule, kilogram, newton and watt. We know the SI unit is nothing but the newton. Okay, just select from the drop down list. So you can also see there are marks also written. Okay, so that you should also keep in mind. The diagram below shows the forces acting on the 1964 train traveling at a constant maximum speed of 220 km per hour. Label the forces as per the diagram. So you can see the magnetic force has already been given, right? Now we have to force all the forces acting on this train when it is moving at a constant. So we know that the weight of the object, or you can say the train, will be acting in the downward direction. and a drag force because of the air resistance will act in the opposite direction. So if the train is moving in this direction, the drag force act in the opposite direction. Now this is a magnetic levitation, guys. Okay, so normal force is very important. Normal force is the force act when the object is in contact with the surface. If the object is not in contact, there will be no normal force. So here, due to the repulsion, the magnetic levitation is because of the repulsion between the magnets. So this will also be a magnetic force. So this will be the right answer, or you can say for this. Even if you do it normal force also, they may accept as per the marking scheme given. So you can also put a normal force also here, but I think the best answer should be the magnetic force, okay, because they are not in contact. Okay, now question 1C part. The bullet train was redesigned to improve its performance, as was mentioned in the video as well. This redesign increased the maximum speed. Select the correct term to complete the sentence and justify your answer. Thrust required for the redesigned train to move at a constant speed 220 km per hour is dash the thrust of the 1964. The 1964 has a greater thrust, but due to redesign it is less than the thrust of the 1964. The justification will be, you can say, the air resistance or the drag force will decrease, and they have a net zero force, or you can say they have the force and the forces are balanced and thus have a constant speed. Okay, so this will be the justification for this particular question. Now moving on to the next 1D part. It is again of 3 mark. The speed time graph is given to us of the 1964 train on its journey through a tunnel. Okay, so you can see the speed decreases with respect to the time. Calculate the length of the tunnel. Now you can see this is journey through a tunnel. Use the graph to calculate the length of the tunnel. Now you can see the speed, if I can zoom it, yeah, so there are 5 divisions. So this is, I can say, 61, and this will be around 52, 54, 55. So this is decreases from 55 to 61 to 55. So you can say the distance will be, the distance of the length of the tunnel will be the area under the graph. So this will be forming a trapezium. So you can say the length of the tunnel will be equals to the area under the graph. So it is a trapezium. Okay, so the length of the tunnel, you can just say, will be equal to, now I can write down using this mathematics equation, length of the tunnel is half sum of its parallel sides, so 1 by 2, then sum of its, just a second, half sum of its parallel side. So if you look at the parallel side, these are the two wires, which is we denoted 55 and 61. So you can say 61 plus 55 times perpendicular height. So perpendicular height is, again you can say, this is the perpendicular height 62. Okay, so at times 62. So this is multiplying 62. Okay, so this will give us the answer as, you can use your calculator. Okay, so 0.5 into 61 plus 55 times 62, which is 3596 meter, right? You can check the units also, this, and rounding off, the best answer you should write will be 3600 meter into 2SF, right? So this will be your final answer. Now draw a line on the graph to represent the journey of the redesigned train through the tunnel at the same initial speed. Okay, so now redesign will be having what? Now redesign will have a speed greater than this, so you can have a speed just you can start with the same point, but it will be less than this. So somewhat like this you can draw. So line stroke width and this you can change, but I think this is fine. So you can see here it should decrease, it will not remain constant. Somewhat there will be resistance will be offered and the speed will decrease, but it will be greater than the 1964 design. Okay, so somewhat like this you can draw. So this was all about the question number 1. I hope you have understood it well. In case of any doubt, you just can comment below. I will try my level best to clear all your doubts. Okay, and in case you want one-to-one session, you can go through the link given in the description below for more details. Now moving on to the question number 2. The transformers are electrical devices that are used for reducing or increasing the voltage of an AC. Select the correct terms to complete the sentence. In a transformer that is 100% efficient, the input power must be equal to the output power. That is what we call it as the ideal transformer, right? So this will be power and this will be equal to the output power. Now the 2B part, transformers are composed of primary and secondary coils wrapped around an iron core that we know. This is the diagram given: primary turn, secondary turn, primary current, primary voltage and all those stuff. Transformers are commonly used to reduce the voltage from supply lines to the voltage required for homes. We know this. Now there is some missing values here. Use the information from the formula sheet. Now you can refer to the formula sheet. To calculate the primary supply voltage, you should assume the transformer is 100% efficient. Now if you go to the formula sheet, we can have this formula. You can note it down in your rough notebook. You should carry you can ask for a rough sheet, okay, in your exam. So you can write down the formula of the transformer, that is nothing but Vp by Vs is equals to Np over Ns, right? Now Vp and Vs is nothing but the primary voltage and the secondary voltage. Np and Ns is the turns on the primary and the secondary, okay. And we also know that the power, so power you can also, power is primary is equals to the power of secondary, and power is equals to V into I. So V power is V power into I power is equals to V secondary into I secondary. So these equations you can just use. Now we have to put up the values, okay. So you should use, so either you can do it here or you can just type it here. It is of how much mark? 2 marks. So you can just say that using the equation let me, okay, so clear all. Now we want what primary voltage we want and the current values are given to us, right? So I can say Vp, let me first write it down the equation, okay. So Vp divided, or let me write it down in these symbols, just a second, yeah. So you can write Vp over Vs is equal to Is over Ip, right? Now using this I can just write down in the formula as per the given. Vp is not known to us, right? So, or you can write down in this again that Vp, or you can say Vp, we have to find out, will be equals to Is times Vs divided by IP. Okay, so now you can say, or you can use in your calculator, Vp is equals to your current in the coil, secondary coil, Is and Vs. So 240 into 60 divided by, you can say 240, this is in bracket, divided by IP. IP is 1.2. okay, so 12,000, or you can say that this is 12,000. So Vp is equals to 12, write down with the units, then 12,000 volts. Okay, so this will be the answer, as it is 100% efficient. Before that, you can, if you want to write that power of primary is equals to power of secondary. So from there you can say Vp IP is equals to Vs Is. Okay, so from there you get this relation and we get the answer. So I am explaining you in detail so that there will be no doubts, right? Now the next question is, in reality transformers are not 100% efficient, they are only 98% efficient. Calculate the actual power supplied by the secondary coil. Okay, so now you have to understood one thing, that they are 98% efficient. So calculate the actual power supplied by the secondary coil. So what is the power by the primary? This is Vp into Ip, right? So we can say power of primary is equals to Vp into Ip, right? And Vp and Ip we have already calculated in the above part. So power primary will be equals to Vp, we have calculated 12,000, and current was how much given to us? 1.2. Now this is the transform by the primary circuit, right? So you can say this is 12,000 into 1.2. So 12,000 into 1.2. So this is 14,400, right? So 14,400. Now as you can see in the question, it is written as, sorry, we have to answer it not here, we have to answer it here. Yeah, so and the transformers are only 98% efficient. So you can say therefore actual power supplied by the secondary coil will be equals to 0.98 times 14,400, right? So this you can calculate in your calci, which will be nothing but 14,112, right? So this you can answer. The actual is how much? Yeah, so everything is, so we don't want this all, is volts. Is 14,112 volts. Okay, sorry, watts. Power is in watts. So I think now it is clear. Now question 2d part, the relation between power and current can be expressed as power is equals to I square R, where P is power, I is current and R is your resistance. Use this relationship to describe why electricity is transferred over long distance at high voltage. Now you should know as a MYP student that whenever the electricity is being transferred from the power plant to the locality or your household, the transmissions are always done at high voltage in order to reduce the losses, the heat losses you can say. If it is transferred at high voltage, then power is equals to I square R. So if it is at high voltage, then the current will be what? So by increasing the current we are reducing the by increasing the voltage we are reducing the current, and by reducing the current there will be less heat produced, and less heat will have less energy losses. As a result, we will be able to transmit the energy or the electricity more efficiently. Okay, so how we will write down? You can say by increasing the voltage, current decreases. As a result, there will be less heat energy produced during the transmission. Hence you can say, hence less energy is wasted or lost. And as R is like resistance, we cannot change. There is a transmission, the wire will have some resistance, so R, the value of R we cannot change. So by increasing the voltage, the current decreases. As the current decreases, there will be less energy. So you can say as less energy is wasted, and the efficiency of the transmission increases. Okay, so you just go through it. By decreasing the voltage, current by increasing the voltage, current decreases. As a result, there will be less heat energy produced during the transmission, hence less energy is wasted and the efficiency of the transmission increases. So this will be the answer for your second D part. Okay, now we have answered all. If you have any doubt, just comment below. Now moving on to the question number 3. This question is quite interesting. The video below shows ice cubes made from pure water melting in glasses of pure and salt water. Now you can see here, this is a pure water and this is the salt water, and the ice cube have been colored so they are more visible while melting. You can see in the video when I will play. The ice cube in pure water melts faster than the ice cube in salt water. I am just playing this. There is no audio. We just go through this video. You can see in the video that the melting of the ice in pure water is faster than the melting of ice in the salt water, right? Just go through it. Yeah, this is over. There is no audio as such, so don't worry. Okay, now the first question, there are 3 methods of the heat transfer. Okay, you just have to drag it. Radiation is because of the transfer of heat by electromagnetic radiation, we know. Conduction is because of transfer of heat by direct contact, and transfer of heat by moving fluid is the convection. This is the easiest question. Okay, now select the diagram that best represent the process of heat energy transfer between the ice cube and the water. So always remember guys, heat is always transferred from a higher temperature body to a lower temperature body. So the flow of heat will be higher temperature to lower temperature. So A and B are incorrect. Now we have to select from C and D. Okay, so for C and D, look the mode of heat transfer. The best mode of heat transfer, the best suitable answer will be the conduction, because they are in direct contact and the heat is transferred from your water to the ice cube. Okay, So option D will be the right answer, right? Now question number 3, C part. In the video, tiny water droplets begin to form on the outside of each glass. You just have to state the physical change that is shown by the formation of these water droplets. So we know that this is nothing but the process of condensation, right? So condensation is the physical change that is, you can say, or you can just write down this much is fine. Condensation is the physical change that is shown by the formation of these water droplets. Now question 3D part. The tiny water droplets from around most of the outside of the glass containing pure water but only form at the top of the glass containing the salt water. Suggest why the pattern of the water droplets is different in both the cases. Now we know that because the melting of the ice is taking place throughout the pure water, whereas in the salt water the melting of ice is taking place at the top surface only. Okay, so how can you write down? Okay, so condensation occurs at the cold surfaces and the salt water is only cold at the top surface, therefore the pattern of water droplet is different. This much is fine. Now question 3E part. Using your knowledge of heat transfer processes, explain why the ice cube melts more slowly in salt water. Now we saw that in the video that the melting of ice takes place faster in the pure water, but it takes time for the ice to melt in salt water. What might be the reason? So how can we write this? The salt water is more denser than your pure water, right? So the melted cold water will remain at the near the top surface only. So there will be less convection currents forming. As a result, the transfer of heat takes more time in order to melt. The transfer of heat from the salt water to the ice, it takes time. The convection currents are not forming so fast as compared to that of the pure water. Okay, so how we will frame up the answer, just pay attention here. Okay, so salt water is more dense than pure water and the melted cold water remains at the top surface only. As a result, there were less convection current formed, which takes more time for the ice to melt in the salt water. So heat is, or you can say, so heat is transferred less quickly, or you can say less convection currents were formed. Predict how the result of the experiment would change if the water in both the glasses are stirred continuously. Like we can predict so the ice will melt more quickly in both the glasses as the rate of convection increases when the glasses were stirred continuously. So forced convection we called it as, because we are doing it manually. So the ice will melt more quickly in both the glasses as the rate of convection increases. So this is the answer for the 3F. So I hope question number 3 is quite clear. If you have any doubt, you can just let me know. Now moving on to the question number 4. A pan flute is a musical instrument made from hollow tubes that are closed at one end. The tubes are commonly made from natural materials such as bamboo. The tubes are cut to different length. You can see these are the different length. When air is blown across a tube, the air vibrates and produces a sound. So let me play a video for you. Okay, so I hope you have hear it very carefully. Okay, now question number 1, 4A. An MYP student is interested in the relationship between the length of a tube and the frequency of the sound being produced. State a research question that would be tested by this investigation. So you just have to state a research question like, how does the change in the length, you can say how does the change in the length of the tube affect the frequency of the sound being produced. So this is of 1 mark, so I think that is more than enough. Now 4B 3 marks, you are provided with the box of a tube. Select the tubes that you would use in the investigation in part A to collect your appropriate data. Drag your selected tubes from the top box of available into the bottom box. So this is the available tubes. So you see here there are different colors and these keys are given: wood, plastic, aluminium, 5 centimeter diameter, 2.5 centimeter diameter. So to conduct an investigation, at least we need few data to be collected, right, of different length, and the control variables are you have to keep in mind. So what we are changing is the length of the tube, right? So of different length I can select 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.80 centimeter, 0.8, and then 1 meter. So you can see there I have 5 different lengths now, okay, which I can use to investigate for my part A research question. Now justify the selection in your part in part B. Why we have taken this selection? So you can justify like this. This is nothing but they are asking you the control. We have to keep the diameter and the material of the tube same for the accurate and correct investigation, or you can say for the correct values. A student is doing a similar investigation, made the following prediction. Okay, as the length of the tube increases, the frequency of the sound produced will decrease. I predict that there will be an inverse proportional relationship between the variables. Now majority of the time students are not able to get into the the finding out the result, or you can say the relationship between the variables, how you can justify it using a mathematical terms. So this is very, very important, guys. You should know how to mathematically prove whether a given relationship is inversely proportional, directly proportional, or so on. Okay, so as of this question, just pay attention now. The graph of a result is shown below. Frequency on the y-axis in hertz and length of the tube in x-axis on the in meters. Okay, use the data from the graph and calculations to explain, okay, whether the student prediction is supported or not. So for an investigation, for a relation, or you can say for an inverse relationship, okay, the variables, let us say x and y, for our understanding, the variable x and y should have, or you can say should follow, that for x and y to be inversely proportional. So for inversely proportional, x and y should be like the product of x and y should be constant, should follow, that is x, or you can say the product of, you can write like this, x times y is equals to constant. Okay, so if you look at the data given in the question, how you can support with from the above graph, select any two, selecting any two data, two sets of data. Okay, two sets of data means 2 x and y at different points. So that is, we select, let us say from the graph we can select, you can select any two data. I am selecting one from the middle, let us say one from, you can select any two data. Let me select which is more convenient for us. Okay, so this is I am selecting where my cursor is right now. So the frequency y is 1200, and this is just in between of 0.05 and 0.10, which is 0.75, right? 0.75, no, 0.075, yeah, 0.0. So you have to be very careful with the values and selecting the data. So one I am selecting is x comma y, we have to write down, which is you can say 0.075 comma 1200, and second we can select any data from the lower part, let us select from the graph, which is this 0.2, and this will be how much? These are 400, this will be 200 difference, and that each difference will be 200 divided by 5, which is 40. So this will be 440 and 480, 460, or we have to take this only na. So from line 0. So this will be 440, 430 I can take, or 435 I can take, 425. So I can say 0.20 comma 425, right? Now check with the values. So product of, so you can say 0.075 times 0.075 times 1200, so which is equals to how much? You can check 0.075 times 1200, which is coming out to be 90, right? So we can insert this 90, and wait, we can also use next data is 0.20 times 425, 85. So this you can enter. Now you can say these are near about same, and if you take any one more data, let us take one more data to be sure. Let us take the last data 0.3, and this will be 280 and 300, it is midpoint 300. So and 0.3 comma 300 approximately, right? So and so let me 0.3 times 300, right, which is 90 again. So yeah, so we can say now, so yeah, so explain whether the student prediction is supported. So you can say yeah, so the hypothesis is correct as per the data. Okay, so you can say like this. So this is how you can explain. This is how much mark? 3 mark. So at least if you are in a doubt, like anyway the data will vary, right? So you can take the values from the top, from the bottom, and from mid to make a conclusion whether they are following a particular pattern or not. So for inverse proportional, this is the most important. The product of x and y should be constant throughout your data. If that is being followed, then only we will say that these are your inverse relationship. Okay. Now question number 4e, the frequency is given by v upon 4l, where v is the speed of sound in air, l is the length of the tube, and f is the frequency. So you can see here the length are given, frequencies are given. So 4 times of l. So 4 times of l will be how much? 0.1 into 4, which will be 0.4. Okay, you have to add it here, 0.4, and this will be 1 upon 4l. So 1 upon 4l was 0.4. 0.4 is equals to 0.4, 2.5, right? So you can write down here 2.5. So these are your just the answer, 0.4, or you can write down here also, that is one and the same thing. Okay, so you can say you can write here 4L is equals to 0.4. No need to enter and the unit because it is already given. 1 by 4L is equals to 2.5, right? Now moving on to the 4F part. The graph below shows the process data from part E. Plot the data point you determine in part E and draw a line of best fit on the graph. So we have 1 upon 4L on the x-axis, so which is 2.5. So 2.5 is here and we get the value as 0 frequency. Okay, so 860 is the frequency and 2.5 is the 1 by 4L. So 2.5 and 860. So where is the point? Yeah. So 2.5 is this and 860. So this will be how many? 200. So 840, 880, 860 will be somewhat here. Yes, 860 will be somewhat here, and this will be the point, and we have to draw the line of best fit. So make sure that whenever you are drawing the line of best fit, guys, so in that case, okay, the line of best fit should be such that there will be an equal distribution of the points along the line. So if I want to draw the equal distribution, so I think this is the most justified line of best fit for the given data, right? So 2.5 and 860 is this point. Now the student is investigating the relationship. Identify what quantity is shown by the gradient. Now how to calculate the gradient? This is also one of the major question where students are feeling, how to find out the gradient. Gradient is nothing but change in y over change in x. So change in y is what? Frequency. Change in x is what? 1 upon 4L. So if you solve this, this will be frequency times 4L, right? So if you look at the formula, frequency times 4L, this will give you nothing but the speed V. You just do it. Okay, so the gradient will be what? Frequency divided by 1 upon 4L. So that 4L will goes to the numerator, it will get multiplied with the frequency. So frequency into 4L is nothing but the V only. So this will be the right answer. Now 4H, calculate the gradient of your line of best fit. You should include your working and state the unit. Now the gradient is what? You just mentioned gradient is equals to change in y divided by change in x, right? Change in frequency, you can say, and change in 1 by 4L, right? So gradient will be equals to, now for you choose any 2 points which are at least covering 75% of your graph, that will give you the gradient. So if I select, let me write down the points, otherwise I will forget it. Just zooming in to select the 2 points on the graph. So I select 5. Okay, I select 5 and I select 1. Okay, 5 and 1. So at 5, I'm getting the data as 1680, and at 1 I am getting the line as something around, this is 240, 280. Each division is of 40 because there are 5 division between and the gap is 200. So 200 divided by 5 is 40. So one change in y is 40 division. So on 1 it will be 240, 280, 290 approx. 240, 1 second, 40 and 280, 320 and 330. It will be 330, right? So change in y over change in x we have to do now. I selected the points x and y. Now I am doing it in the calculator directly, so clear all. So this will be 5 change in y, so 1680 minus 330 divided by 5 minus 1. So you will get x2 y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So this is what we get. So this is we get is 337.5, right? So let me enter. Yeah, so gradient is equals to 337. Now state the unit. There is a marks for the unit also, and 337.5, and the gradient is what we have calculated just above. It is the speed. So all the datas are in SI units. So this will be 337.5, or you can say the gradient is equals to 337.5 meter per second. Okay, so this will be meter per second. So this will be your answer for the 4H part. So I hope question number 4 is quite clear to one and all. If you have any doubt in any of the part, please let me know. Now moving on to the question number 5. Okay, so now let us start question number 5. So you can see question number 5 is of 15 marks. So question 5A says this: some musical instruments such as guitar make sound by vibrating the strings. We plug the strings of the guitar and there is a sound is being produced. So let us go through this video. Okay, so I hope you have gone through this video. Now calculate the tension in the wire if the hanging mass is 300 gram. You should assume that the gravitational field strength is 10 Newton per kg. So we know that the force of tension in the wire will be nothing but, you can say, the force of tension in the wire will be equal to the weight of the hanging mass, right? And weight of the hanging mass is W is equals to mg, right? So m into g. So this will be equals to mass is 300 grams. So we have to convert this into kg. So 0.3 times 10, which is nothing but 3 Newton, right? So you can directly write 3, or you can say 0.3 times 10, which is nothing but 3, and the unit will be Newton. So this is of, I think, how much mark? 2 marks. So you have to mention this is equals to the weight of the hanging mass, and the force will be m times g. Now the B part says that the student research question is: how does increasing the force of tension affect the frequency of vibration of a wire? We have to suggest two variables that should have control during this. So we know that the length of the string or the wire should be constant, and the second variable you can say the thickness, or you can also use diameter of the wire of the string. Also you can say the material of the string should also be remain same, and temperature of the string should also remain. So these all are the factors that are supposed to be kept constant. You can write any two variables, right? Now 5C, organize and present the data as per the given data that they have collected. So how many data? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 datas, 5 datas are there, and with the heading, so it will be 6 we have to make. So total 6, and 2 headings are more than enough. So here I can write down tension. In bracket you should mention the unit as well. and here I can write down frequency measured in hertz, right? So starting with the lowest first, so lowest tension in the string is 4.9. No need to enter the units again. Then it will be 4.9, then 14.7. Okay, then 4.9 the frequency is 180 and 14.7 is 280 hertz, and then after this it will be 24.5 and the 460 hertz is the frequency. Then after this 39.3 and then it is 509 hertz. Okay, because 39.28 you have to round off into similar decimal places, so up to one decimal it will be 39.3. okay, so there is the marks of that also, and 49,588 hertz, so you can say 49.0. okay, so in this manner you have to arrange and organize the data table. Now no need of this, so you can delete or you can remove row. So this much is what is being required. Now the student plots a graph of frequency against tension for their result as per the data table, and the student make the line of best fit could be a curve, but I am not confident that the graph correctly shows the relationship between the two variables. I should take more measurements. Suggest what additional measurement the student should make to verify the relationship shown by the graph. Justify your answer. So as you can see here, the datas are not equally manipulated, or you can say the datas are not equal, like 4.9 then 14.7 then 24 point. So there is no pattern of the datas that has been collected, and therefore the relationship is not being justified, or you can say it cannot be made accurately, whether it will be a curve, whether it will be a directly proportional relationship or whatever. So what additional measurement we can mention, like so the student must increase the range of data with regular intervals of the tension, because you have seen in the data the tensions are not increased with regular intervals, that is your independent variable, and the pattern of the data should be more, if you do this, the pattern of the data will be more closely visible, whether it is increasing up to with a constant gradient or not, and the line of best fit will be more reliable. Okay, so this you can write down. Now 5e part, many different investigation can be carried out relating to the frequency of the vibration of a wire. Identify the variables of a new investigation with frequency as the dependent. Now they have fixed the dependent variable as frequency. What other thing we can do apart from tension? Tension has already been done. So we can change the length, that is the most common. What we can do is the length of the string, we can change the length of the string. So, and control variable will be the thickness of the material, thickness of the string, and second variable we can say the nature of the material, nature of the material of string, and what as temperature you can mention, and the tension in the string. Now we have to keep the tension in the string as constant, so any two variables you can mention. Now the second question says formulate a hypothesis for the new investigation in part of that we have written in part E. Okay, now using these independent, dependent and control variable, we have to make a hypothesis. If, then, because, three parts are there. Okay, so if the length of the string is increased, then frequency of the sound will decrease, then because Okay, so speed of wave is equals to frequency times wavelength, V equals to f lambda. So wavelength of the sound is equal to the twice, because when you plug the string it will form a standing wave, right? So the wavelength of the sound is equal to twice the length of the string, because one standing wave will be produced. So you can say as the length of the string increases, the wavelength of the sound also increases. This means the frequency will decrease, because the wave speed of the wave is quite constant. So if the speed of wave is constant, then if wavelength increases, then frequency has to decrease in order to. So this is my hypothesis. And one more thing, the hypothesis is not actually right or wrong. It is depending on how you justify with your proper reasoning to it. Okay, so you can mention your independent and dependent variables are increasing or decreasing with respect to one another with a justified scientific reasoning to it. Okay, so in that case you will get your marks. So I hope this is question number 5 is clear. If you have any doubt, just comment below. We'll try to clear all your doubts. Now moving on to the question number 6. The loudness of a sound related to its intensity level. The sound intensity level can be measured in decibels using an instrument, that is sound level meter. A sound level meter was used to investigate the relationship between the sound intensity level and distance from the sound source. The investigation was performed on a school field using a speaker, and 3 trials were carried out at each distance. Suggest why 3 trials were carried out during the data collection. Now as you see in the passage, it was mentioned that you are doing it in a school field and there will be a background noise there. Okay, and we cannot control that. So in order to get more reliable data, we should take at least 3 trials. Okay, so we can take the average out of that and we can get a more reliable data, because sometimes their noise may be lower, sometimes background noise may be high. 3 trials were carried because 3 trials were carried and in an open area there will always be a background noise, when or whether it is a small you can say controlled environment, then also there is certain amount of background noise is always there. Okay, now the B part. Use the equipment below to measure the sound intensity level at the distance 6 meter from the speaker and calculate the average sound intensity and add your value to the table. Now you can see this is the data table given to us. 3 trials were taken, we have to measure for 6. So let us slide it to 6. So you can see the reading in the meter is 113 and we have to take the average now. So average is very simple, 113 plus 114 plus 113. Answer is how much? 340. 340 divided by 340 divided, just a second, 340 divided by 3, so 113.33. so rounding off it will be 113 only. Okay, so this will be the answer. Now a simple pattern that can be seen in the data is doubling of the distance changes the sound intensity level by the same amount. Okay, use this pattern to predict the sound intensity level at 16 meter. So you see here, if we double, like from 2 to 4 there is a decrement of 6 decibel, then from 4 to 8 again a decrement of 6, then 6 to 12 again decrement. So you can say from 8 to 16 there will be a decrement of 6 decibel. The pattern is same. So from 8 to 16, so 8 is 111, so 111 minus 6, that will be nothing but 105 decibel, right? So just look at the pattern and answer it. Now what is this? An MYP student is interested in how the thickness of the wall affects the sound intensity level that is measured on the other side of the wall. They make the model that is shown below to use in their investigation. So just I will pay for you on one side of the wall they will have a buzzer and other side of the wall they will have a sound level meter as shown here. Design an investigation to find out how the number of layers of cardboard in the wall affects the sound intensity level. In your plan, you have to include your independent, dependent, and the justification of two control variable, a hypothesis which is explained using scientific reasoning, a detailed method for how will you collect data, and an explanation of how you will collect sufficient data. Okay, so first let me write it down the whole answer and then we will discuss. Okay. Okay, so now you can see I have written all the answers. Now let us just discuss. So the independent variable will be nothing but the number of layers of the cardboard. Okay, in the wall. Dependent variable will be the sound level intensity in decibel that will be measured using the sound level meter. Now control variable first will be the source of the sound. The buzzer has to be remain the same power for each trial. You cannot vary because otherwise the intensity of the sound will differ, and the position of the sound level should be the same for each trial. This can achieve by placing the sound level meter at the same distance and angle for each trial. Otherwise again your intensity may differ. So my hypothesis is very simple. As the number of cardboard of the wall increases, the sound intensity level on the other side of the wall will decrease. This is because each layer of the cardboard will absorb some amount of sound energy, which as a result reduces the intensity that passes through the next cardboard layer. And the method and data collection, just go through it. It's quite easy to understand. First you have to gather all the materials, set up the buzzer on one side of the wall and sound level meter on the another side of the wall. Place one layer of the cardboard on the wall between the buzzer and the sound level as shown in the video. Measure the distance between the sound level meter and the wall and ensure that the sound level meter is positioned perpendicular with the wall so that the sound will travel longitudinally and it will hit the cardboard at the same time. Turn on the buzzer and record the sound intensity level on the other side of the wall using the sound level meter. Mention the device that you are using. Okay. Repeat step 4. Okay, this step we have to repeat for 2, 3, 4 and 5 layers. So 5 datas we are collecting, and each step, each cardboard layer we will have the repeat step 3 to 5 for each number of cardboard layer to ensure accuracy. How many times? 3 times. This is very important. This is the answer for your data collection of the sufficient data we are getting. Okay, and then at the last calculate the average sound intensity level for each number of the cardboard layers. Also you can plot the result to visualize the relationship between the number of cardboard layers that will be on the x-axis and the sound intensity level in decibel on the y-axis. So this is the whole answer for your question number 6D part, which is of 13 mark, guys, designing an investigation. Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can just let me know. You can take a screenshot if you want. This should be the order and this should be the way you have to write it down. Okay, now question number 7. Now moving on to the criteria D part now. Many years ago, people believed that all the planets and the sun orbit Earth. This is known as geocentric model as viewed from the Earth. And the Mars takes the path shown in the animation, as you can see on the right hand side, right? Now the first A part suggests why this observation is not consistent with the geocentric model of the solar system. Okay, so we can say that in the animation also you can see the Mars is going backwards and changing the direction, right? So you can say Mars seems to change the direction, and if Earth is considered to be at the center, then Mars would orbit in a circular path, and hence and therefore this observation, you can say, and therefore this observation is not consistent with the geocentric model of the solar system. Okay, so this is the answer for your A part. Now moving on to the 7B part. When Earth and Mars are 6 into 10 raised to power 10 meter apart, a radio signal traveling at this speed will take 200 seconds to travel the planet. Now we have to calculate the time for the radio signal to travel from Earth to Mars when they are 4 into 10 raised to power 11 meter apart. Okay, give your answer to the nearest. So you can say the time for the radio signal to travel, or you can say the time for radio signal will be equals to, we know that time will be equals to what? Distance upon speed. So distance is, we just calculated 4 into 10 raised to power. So you can say 4 into 10 raised to power, okay, wait, 4 into, as it is given here, 4 into 10 raised to power 11, this will be in bracket, this will be in bracket, divided by speed is how much? 3 into 10 raised to power 3 into 10 raised to power 8. So this will, how much it will be? It is, yeah. So you can see this is 1333, right? So let me take this here. So this will be in second. Okay, so time for this will be how much? 133.33 divided by 60, or you can directly do it there. Okay, so to convert that into 60, or simply writing down time will be in minutes, because the answer is supposed to be given in minutes. So that will be how much? That will be nothing but 133.33 divided by 60, right? So which will be how much? Let me do this simply. This will be 22 approximately, right? So you can do this as, this will be the answer for your in minutes, time for radio signal in minute. This will be in second. So you can say in minute it will be equals to 22 minute rounding off. Okay, so this will be the answer for your B part. Now C part, the UAE launched an uncrewed mission to Mars on 19 July 2020. Similar missions from China and US were launched around the same date. The orientation of the Mars and the Earth on this date is shown below. The planet were closest together on 6th October 2020. So you can see there are two dates, one is of 2020 July and the another one is of October 2020. Use the diagram to suggest two reasons why it was an advantage to launch the mission to Mars in July rather than October. Okay, so there are two reasons we have to do. Okay, the first reason we can mention is the launch date was considered, or you can say the launch date is calculated as to give the shortest journey time. Okay, because if you see, it will take time for the whatever the mission you have sent, okay, uncrewed mission from Earth to Mars, so it will take some time to reach to the Mars. Okay, so we can say that this calculated time between the July to October will be the shortest journey time it will take to reach. As a result, you can also mention the launch date. Okay, the launch date gives the shortest distance also. The launch date gives the shortest distance to travel, which as a result save fuel for the mission, for the launch of whatever the satellite that we have launched from the Earth. Okay, so these two reasons are enough. You can also mention it minimize the communication time, the signals that will be getting received from that particular satellite or the mission that we are sending. And you can also say that so at a particular spot we want to land on the Mars, so according to that also we may calculate the launch date, because all calculations are done before sending, because they all are very costly missions. Okay, so these are your questions answer for question number 7. I hope you have got all the answers. Okay, now question number 8, criteria D, 13 mark. Since 1960, there have been around 47 missions to Mars launched. Of these, only around half have been successful and have collected data to extend our knowledge of Mars. The interactive graphic gives show details of the mission. So you can go through this all, just pause the video. And the missions of China, you can pause and take a screenshot in case you want. This is for the European Union. This is for India, Japan, UAE, US and Russia, right? So you can take the screenshot of each by pausing the video. Now we are directly jumping to the question. Using all the information provided on the Mars and your wider MYP studies, so you can use the information that is given and whatever you have studied so far in your MYP, discuss and evaluate why a government might want to attempt to send humans to Mars. In your answer, you should include the technical challenges of planning the journey to Mars, a discussion of economic advantages and disadvantages for the government, a discussion of the political implication of attempting to put a human on Mars, and a concluding appraisal. So guys, if you look, this is the only question for question number 8 and it is of 13 mark. Okay, so you have to answer which cover all these points in your answer and it should be clearly visible to the examiner. So let me give you a sample answer. This is of best of my knowledge I have considered. I have written this in prior to make this video to understand you how you are supposed to write criteria D. So let me enter the whole thing and then we will discuss one by one. Okay, so finally I have written, just let us go through it. I know it's quite a big, but yeah, that is how it mean to be. Okay, so sending humans to Mars is an ambitious endeavor that requires significant technical, economic and political investment. However, several governments have expressed interest in exploring Mars, which led to various successful as well as unsuccessful events in the past that we have seen from the information provided in the question. Now, the first are the technical challenges. So, one of the most significant challenges of planning a mission to Mars is the distance and the associated time delay. Mars is about 140 million miles away from the Earth, and depending on the alignment of the planet, a trip to Mars can take anywhere between 6 to 8 months. This information is given. During the journey, the astronaut will be exposed to high radiation levels, low levels of gravity, which can cause several health issues. Additionally, Mars has a thin atmosphere, making it challenging to land safely on the surface, and the planet's extreme temperature fluctuation poses challenges for the equipment and the crew. So, these are the technical challenges while journey to the Mars, not on living on the Mars. So, I have gone through the report. It is mentioned that majority of the students are considering the living condition on the Mars. No, but the question is asking the planning the journey to the Mars. Okay, so these are the technical challenges. Now, what are the economic advantages and disadvantages? So, economic advantages, despite the technical challenges, there are several economic advantages. Now, we are linking to sending humans to the Mars. First, the mission can stimulate technological advancement and innovations that can have practical applications on the Earth. For example, advancement in life support, radiation shielding, propulsion in healthcare, transportation and energy industries. Additionally, a Mars mission can create jobs, drive economic growth, because it will require a huge force to conduct a mission, as it requires a significant workforce in engineering, manufacturing, research and development. So, these are the economic advantages. Now, looking at the economic disadvantages. On the flip side, a Mars mission can also be expensive endeavor, costing up to $100 billion over 20 to 40 years. That is also given in the question. Governments have to invest in research, development and testing of new technologies, spacecraft and launch vehicle, which can significantly strain their budget, because each country has their own budget. Moreover, space exploration is a long-term risky investment, as there are many chances of unsuccessful mission, which you can go through in the case of USSR and Russia. There is not even a single a mission that was successful, and they have invested billions of dollars from 1960 to 2016. Thus, it's a matter of challenge for governments looking for a short term. You cannot have a short term benefit from such missions. Now, on the political side, if we go, now political implications, if you go through it, of attempting to put a human on are significant. A Mars mission can symbolize national prestige, okay, technological leadership, showcasing a country's scientific and technological prowess. This can be a source of pride for citizens, fostering national unity at the same time and inspiring future generation of scientists and engineers. Additionally, international cooperation in Mars mission can promote diplomatic relations and help build alliances within the different countries at the global level. However, the political implication can also be negative. On the same side, the high cost, the major important point, can lead to criticism from taxpayers and the politicians of those countries, who might question the prioritization of space exploration over other pressing national issues. That can be unemployment, that can be the inflation and all those stuff. So, moreover, the space exploration is a highly politicized issue, and the mission can become a subject of political controversy and influence the public opinion or government spending. So, these are the other side of the political implication. So, in conclusion, a government decision to attempt to send humans to Mars is a complex one, requiring careful consideration of the technical, economic and political implication. While a Mars mission can bring significant benefits in terms of technological advancement, economic growth, national prestige, it also comes with challenges and risks. Therefore, the government must weigh the benefit as well as the risk carefully and make informed decision based on a long-term vision for space exploration and a commitment to scientific advancement. So, this is the whole of words you can count as 511, although there is no such word limit to questions as it is not mentioned, but I just give you a sample idea of how to write criteria D. So, if you want a sample PDF or the Word file of this what I have written, you can just go through the description below. You will find the related documents in on my website. Okay. Now to the very last question, question number 9. Again, it is based on a criteria D. Mars will be an unwelcoming place for humans because of its atmosphere and environment. Just go through this video once.
Living on Mars will not be easy. The planet is covered with sand and rocks that create powerful dust storms. A year on Mars is almost twice as long as a year on Earth. There are 4 seasons on Mars. Mars is very cold. The average temperature is minus 62 degrees Celsius, ranging from minus 126 degrees Celsius in winter to 21 degrees Celsius in summer. Nighttime temperatures can be 90 degrees Celsius lower than daytime temperatures. Mars has an atmosphere of 95% carbon dioxide. The layer of gas is 100 times thinner than that of Earth, and the atmospheric pressure is far lower. The gravitational field strength on the surface of Mars is 0.38 times that of Earth. There is no protection from the sun's radiation on Mars. The amount of high-energy UV radiation from the sun is many times greater than on Earth.
Okay, I hope you have gone through this. Okay, now the only question for 6 mark. Scientific principle would be applied when establishing a settlement on Mars. Discuss how scientific principle could be used to build appropriate living condition for humans. In your answer, you should consider the effect of temperature, the effect of radiation, the effect of low gravity, and a suggestion of how each of these effects can be overcome. Okay, so again I will write down the whole answer and then we will discuss. Okay, so I have written now. So establishing a settlement on Mars is a complex and challenging endeavor that requires the application of scientific principle to create appropriate living condition for humans. Okay, so we have considered one by one. So effect of temperature. Mars has an average temperature of minus 62 degrees Celsius taken from the data. An extreme temperature fluctuation with temperature ranging from minus 126 degree in winters to 21 degree in summers, and the night temperature can be 90 degree lower than the daytime. So fluctuations are, these all are taken from your data that are given in the video. Okay, so therefore one of the primary challenges is establishing a settlement. Okay, establishing a settlement in your Mars to create a habitat that can maintain a stable and comfortable temperature for humans. Okay, one way to overcome this challenge is to use insulation to regulate the temperature inside the habitat, whatever the habitat we will make, such as fiberglass, polythene foam, and can be used to create a barrier between the interior and exterior of the habitat, preventing the heat loss and maintaining the stable temperature. Effect of radiation. Yeah, Mars has a very thin atmosphere. The layer of the gas is 100 times thinner than the Earth, and the atmosphere pressure is very far lower. There is no protection from the sun's radiation on Mars. The amount of high energy UV radiation from the sun is many times larger, greater than the Earth. So therefore the radiation exposure can cause several health issues, including cancer, genetic mutation, and central system damage. Okay, so to overcome the radiation challenge, habitat on Mars can be built with radiation shielding material, which is water, concrete, polyethylene. These material can absorb or deflect radiation, reducing the exposure level inside the habitat. Okay, then the effect of low gravity. The gravitational field strength on the surface of the Mars is 0.38 times that of the Earth, again given in the video if you have watched it carefully, which can cause several health issues for humans, including muscle and bone loss, cardiovascular problem, and vision impairment. And to overcome the low gravity challenge, habitats on Mars can be designed with artificial gravity system such as the rotating habitats. These systems can simulate Earth's gravity, providing a comfortable and healthy living environment. Okay. Additionally, astronauts can perform regular exercise routine to maintain their physical health and wear a weighted suit to mitigate the effects of low gravity. So in conclusion, scientific principle can be applied to build appropriate living conditions for humans on Mars by addressing all the issues considered above and considering the solutions to overcome the same. So this is all about the criteria D and all the questions of your May 2022 Physics e-assessment for MYP 5. So in case of any doubt, if you have any questions, just comment below. Okay, I will try my level best to answer you all, and for one-to-one session with me to discuss criteria based if you have any issues in any of the criterias, and I will try my level best to upload more videos. If you want any particular year video, just comment below. Okay, and I hope you have understood all the questions very well. So you can also download the sample answers of specifically criteria designing the experiment criteria B and criteria D. I have made a Word file, PDF I will upload. The link will be given in the description. Okay, so keep learning. See you in the next video. Bye bye.